can't tell you how often one assignment I've established a contact or two from that story that I've then gone on to do a completely different story with years later.
Hmm.
And I think that that's part of the job when you're a freelance photographer is depending on the type of work you're doing, right? It's so eclectic, but the type of work I do, finding new contacts, maintaining relationships, really curiously listening to what people have to say, and then also taking what you learned and attacking the research field so you can try to turn it into a story. It's a big part of the job.
I think that's important for people to hear though, because a lot of people could look at your body of work and assume, I mean, he doesn't need to go out there and hustle stories. Like they're probably just presenting themselves to, like between editorial work, commercial work, you've got a huge list of clients. It could be easy to go, I mean, I'm probably good, like someone's going to call me or, within the next couple of days and probably offer something. And so I'm just going to rest and, to hear you say like, I'm always keeping my ear to the ground, looking for stories that I could then present to someone else. Like I said, it's important for people to hear because look, once again, I am guilty of doing that sometimes of, having amazing ideas maybe and going like, oh, that's a really good story. And then doing nothing with it, like
Right, right.
that the next step is the obvious, like, what are you going to
That's
do?
the grind,
Yeah.
the spade work, right? It's putting
Yeah,
the shovel into the dirt and like
totally.
figuring it out. Because I can relate to both sides. It's like, an ideas will show up, and then maybe you try to execute them on them, and they just don't work out, or you just simply forget and move on. But it takes a lot of energy, to go out and actually build an idea or a conversation you had with somebody into something bigger. And I am lucky that these all every contact I had just took painstaking effort over the years, to get into some of these institutions. It was not easy. And then once you get in there, you have to sort of prove yourself and become a contributor that these people want to use. Sorry, I don't know if that just came through. Let me turn my messages off.
Oh no, I didn't hear it, but
Oh, good. Okay, good. It was just on my side. Apologies. Um, but I think I don't know. I think the work that when you have an idea and you do build it into a pitch deck and you sell that pitch deck, and the next thing you know, you're out there actually responsible for the very idea you came up with and created and did all the research for. Those are some of the most fulfilling moments in your career. And I think when you start getting a taste for that, you want to do it more and more and more. And you get confidence knowing that, like, okay, this is something you can do. This is a way that works. And I would say for me, I can trace the way I work and pitch work today, aside from like it's great when jobs just show up when you can weigh them and figure out if it's the right one. That's the best. It's great to open up your inbox and be like, this is a really great opportunity. In spite of all of that, I'm always trying to work on the personal projects that I want to do because there's a different level of heart that's involved with them.
right.
And coming in through action sports, most of it being rock climbing in the early days were places where they were all about your relationships, right? Would have relationships with athletes. They would have ideas of places they either wanted to go or a new hard route they wanted to do. And then with that information, I would rally together a publication to make them care about wanting to cover the story, or I would talk to commercial outlets around getting money so we could like go do these trips. And that hustle just came in really early in sort of the survival process of being a young professional photographer. I'm going back to like 2005.
Yeah.
And that those rhythms, as you start to realize, like, oh, if you have a good idea, you can sell it. You're going to hear no a lot, but it's once you get conditioned to the fact that that's just okay, that serves you well. And the more you do that and condition that muscle and condition that ability to know how to pitch, and that stuff will open up a broader variety of work. Because if you just rely on a certain set of clients to feed you work, it'll probably be the kind of work that is the same as the last time because you're reliable in that department, right? They're like, this person shoots great portraits of running shoes. We love the style. Just keep, that we're going to keep working with that person there. You're probably not going to end up on Mount Everest doing a big alpine trip. Right? You have
No,
to go get that and find that
yes.
and establish the entirely new Rolodex relationships if that's the thing you want to do. But yeah, I think there's it's funny, I still run into a lot of photographer buddies out in the field, or at a convention or whatever it is. And so often the question is like, how's the hustle? It's like still there for the people that are trying to push themselves.
Yeah.
And I love that. I think that that's a big part of, if you want to be a little bit more eclectic, be prepared to work and push and grind and figure it out, and be good with your relationships. That's your highest currency.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. That's great to hear. And like I said, it's something I think everyone struggles with, and as you get busier, if you're lucky enough to make a career out of this and things start happening, it becomes tricky to figure out, the balance of it all. Even look, man, like going through your feed again this morning, like your Instagram feed alone, I'm like, man, what's his time management look like to like, no, he's busy. I like, he's married, he's got a child, I'm sure you got plenty of bills and outflow and life. And on top of that, you're traveling, you're chasing a multitude of subjects. And like I said, just your like how frequently you post and everything. I'm like, I don't know. He's on top of all this, you know?
I appreciate that, man. I have a good archive too. I've definitely, and I've tried to capitalize anytime I do a shoot.